Welcome to another day in the studio. Today we're going to be working on adding extra flair and spicing up a drum kit that is part of a song that I'm working on at the moment, which happens to be a collaboration between me and one of the channel members. Shout out to Joss, because it is thanks to his guitar that this track is gonna be finished. So without further ado, let's get into it. In front of us we got, of course, Logic Pro 11, which is the software we're going to be using to produce this track. So without further ado, let's listen to what we got at this point. Okay, as it is, it's still kind of boring, it's not that exciting. It got a little bit of cinematic elements, and of course the guitar is right now not at the forefront because we're going to be working on the rhythmic section. So let's begin with this. First and foremost, I'm going to show you the track that we're going to be using for expanding the sound of the drums. This is the Bongo Classic Break, which is part of the loops that comes loaded with Logic. And it sounds like this. I'm going to solo the sound of the drums and the bongos. Here we go. They work quite nicely together, right? The issue is that, first and foremost, we got plenty of low end coming from the bongos. Let me show you with the bass. As you can see, it is not as precise, and the bass is kind of muffled by the sound of the bongos. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding first a little bit of equalization. We're going to be cutting off the low end of the drums. So here we go. With the low cut, I removed a little bit of the rumbleness, but there is a particular frequency that is annoying me. And yes, even though we're not mixing yet, since we're doing some form of sound design, it's important for all of the instruments that are part of our track to feel that they belong together since this very point. So what I'm going to be doing here is going to be using the equalizer to remove a little bit of a honkiness that I can hear that is happening probably here in the 100-something area. Let's see. Yes, it's that particular frequency, and it is 199 hertz. So I'm going to dock it probably there, and let's see if it fits better. Look at that. By cutting or removing a little bit of that extra mud on the bongos, we could even open up a little bit more of the filter, letting some of the low end that is part of the sound to cut through the mix better. Like it. Good. First improvement so far. Now, let's change the pitch a little bit of the bongos, because I like how they sound, but I think they could feel better if they are a little bit higher pitch. Okay, the way to do it is going to be by going over here on the inspector, and I'm going to go straight to the transpose mode. In here, let's crank it up, I don't know, like probably 7. Let's see what we get. Way cooler, right? It's starting to even develop some form of harmonic texture to it due to the stretching and pitching, which is something that I like. Quite fun. Now, let's see. Let's add a little bit more texture to the sound. I'm going to first apply a little bit of distortion. You know what? Let's try with something different, because I got something here, which is texture. And let's try Mellowify, which happens to be a plugin that recreates the sound of the tape devices that are part of a Mellotron. It sounds like this. Let's see what it does out of the box. I like it a lot. From here, I'm gonna add a little bit of extra rhythm to the whole operation, and I'm gonna do it by applying delay to the sound of my bongos. So the way to do it is gonna be by, of course, going to my delay section, and from here I'm gonna select which one, ripple delay. It's a plugin that I happen to be a huge fan of. Been using it quite often as of late because it's a very powerful delay engine. What it does, well, many things. But the way we're going to be using it at the moment is by going to the repeat mode. Because as you can see, the whole interface changes, and now it feels or looks similar to what a step sequencer would look like. And as you can imagine, this is going to basically follow this pattern. So what I'm going to do is going to extend this to be all the way up to 8 repetitions. So it's basically a full bar. And these lines represents the repetition, a delay, but it's going to be based on the volume here. So we can create a rhythm to our taste. So let's see. Now we're talking, right? Sorry for interrupting, but if you are watching all the way down to this point, it means that you are liking the video. So please help us to reach more people by clicking on the like button underneath, and also by leaving a comment if you happen to have any question. With that being said, let's continue. The only issue is that since we're starting to add more and more sounds to the bongos, the repetition is starting to become a bit muddier. So what I'm going to do is first going to turn on the gate dock function that is part of my Ripple plugin. And in here, I'm going to turn on the dock. What the docker is going to do, it's going to lower the volume of the repetitions whenever the dry signal kicks in, letting the reverb, the delay and the repetitions to be a little bit less in the way of the sound, the dry sound, okay? So let's play around with it. I'm going to lower the threshold. Somewhere, I don't know, this is just eyeballing it, and because the threshold is going to dictate how loud the signal has to be coming from the dry signal for the delay to be docked down. And with the amount knob, we're going to control how much of it is going to be reduced in volume. So let's see. So good, right? Now I'm going to add a little bit of filter or cut off some of the low end back to the sound of the repetitions because it's starting to get cluttered. So I'm going to do it by working with the filter here. Even though it looks weird, it's very simple to operate. With this going upwards, you control which frequency you're going to be cutting, and actually you can change the width of the cue by pushing it sideways, okay? So let's push it to cut some of the lows. I'm going to stick to digital because the idea is to expand the rhythmical nature of the drum pattern, the bongos pattern for this application, and digital will basically repeat them without any form of how can I put it, degradation to the sound. Okay, and now let's see how much we're going to preserve of the original sound in relationship with the wet. So I'm going to play with the wet knob all the way down first, and then I'm going to be adding it to taste. Here we go. Love it. Awesome. Now, as a final push, let's add a little bit of more flavor to it. And the way I'm going to do it is going to be by maybe applying a little bit of a slight compression. Very, very tiny compression. No, you know what? Even better. I'm going to add a little bit of extra distortion to it. So in order to do that, I'm going to go for the... yeah, let's try with this guy. Verb Analog Machines. Why? Because the idea is that since I got this particular tone, the result of the effect, the whole process, the signal path, and also the delay, I will use this final layer of distortion to blend them together and make them feel like they are actually one sound, if that makes sense to you. So let's do it. Here we go. This is very simple to use. We're just going to be adding or removing a drive based on the circuits, okay? Here we go. Let's see. This one is excellent. Let's see how it sounds like in context. Excellent. So there you got it.